Kia ora everyone. So, YSC has asked me to speak with you guys this morning, and it's around belonging. And I feel like this is going to be really easy for me to talk about, not because I know what I'm talking about, but because all I have to do is reflect over this past weekend gone and just think about all of the different ways that each and every one of you showed belonging, one to this marae, to each other, to the group, with God as well. Who's felt like they've been quite comfortable over this weekend? Just comfortable to be yourself, just to ask for whatever you want, to go up and make friends with people, to not be shy. Yeah. So that's what I've noticed. So it's been really cool to see how comfortable everyone has been, and how I feel like everyone really does feel like they belong, right? So we can belong to different things. So we can belong to your marae. You belong to your mum and your dad and your nans and your koros. You belong to Aotearoa, right? You belong to this earth. You belong to Māoritanga. We belong to all of these different things. We also belong to Jesus. So everyone put your hand up if you belong to Jesus. Yeah. Yep. So it's very clear in the Bible that if you don't belong to Jesus, you belong to, who can take a guess? Yeah. There's no in between. You can't go in between in the middle of that. You're either one way or another. You either belong to Jesus or you don't. You can still belong to your marae and to your whānau and to whatever else you want to belong to, that is where you have been brought up from. But at the end of the day, we want to belong to Jesus. And like I had a whole different kind of angle to this message that I was wanting to bring. However, just like in that last song that we sung, He Kākanoa Hou, God gave me a different message. So I was over there on my phone typing up some new notes for my new message that just come up in the last, 5 minutes or whatever. So that's what we're going to go with, and yeah, we'll see where it takes us. So if you think about the words in He Kākanoa Hou, right? So kākano is a seed. So it's like, I am a seed. And what do seeds do? They grow. Yeah, they grow into big, strong tōtara trees. And then if we think of the words, what was it? My pride I will show, that you may know who I am. Just say those words to yourself. My pride I will show, that you may know who I am. I am a warrior, a survivor. He more hua hou. Can you feel like some power when you say those words? Yeah. Like, can you really feel that? Like, really start thinking about those words as you go about, like as you leave here, as you go about your day. So those words is how God wants you to see yourself, and that's the identity that God has in you. That you are a warrior, you are a survivor, and Morehu means the same. So it means survivor, leader, soldier, right? God wants us to be soldiers for Him. And so we've all come together this weekend. A lot of us strangers, some of us already knowing each other, but we're going to leave here now as family, all under Jesus, all going towards the same kaupapa. And that kaupapa is to continue your walk with God as you move from here, but also what He really wants us to do is be an example of someone that is living in Jesus' footsteps. right? So that when you are leaving here this weekend and you're going into like the world from here, because in here we're kind of like in our little bubble, like we're safe in here. Everyone, like nobody is judging anyone in here. We can all stand up and be ourselves, and we all feel comfortable. But when we go into the world, when you go back to school tomorrow, I think school's on tomorrow, when you go back to school with all the other kids, or you go back to work, all the parents, or you go home, you're going to be met with challenges, right? With people that maybe they don't know God, maybe they're not living in a godly way, in a righteous way, and that's when the challenges start to come, right? When we leave from here. So I just want for Tori to stand up, please. And if you saw Tori, like if you didn't know who Tori was, and she, you saw her maybe at supermarket, at Pack and Save or New World or whatever, do you think you'd be able to kind of pick that Tori is somebody that loves Jesus just by the way she is, just like her father? Cool. And then Becky, stand up. All right. What about Becky? Would you think he's someone that follows Jesus? Yes. 110%. Yeah, you can stand. And what about Mike? Stand up. Oh, yeah. And so the thing is, right, that like with Mike, he's trying to cover his tattoos, but Jesus doesn't judge us on our tattoos. He judges us on how we are inside. He judges us on who we're being and how we're treating other people, and we're making them feel safe and comfortable and like that they belong. Yeah. So I have not seen anyone treat anyone this weekend like they don't belong here, like they shouldn't be here. And that's really, amazing to witness. And so, that's just the main message is that when you leave here, you want to walk out into the world with your head held high, like you're a soldier of God, right? Like you're a warrior and a leader, and just feeling really confident about yourself. So the other message that I spoke the other night was around confidence. And around being bold with your faith, and being bold in your walk as well. So who feels like they can walk out of here this weekend with more confidence than you walked in here with? Yep. And knowing that you do belong to Jesus. So, this was part of the other. I don't even need these notes. It's all just has to come as I go. So when I was kind of like breaking down those words, so I am a warrior, I am a survivor. Has anyone heard this story of David and Goliath? Yep. Cool. So David was a little boy, and he had all of his brothers and his father. His brothers and his father were in the army to fight the Philistines. And David was just a shepherd. He just tended to the sheep. He was not meant to go and try and fight in the army. So Coach, can you stand up, please? So Coach is going to be our David, okay? Stand up. Yeah, Coach is David. Yeah. Who thinks that they could defeat Kosher right now? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, no. Hands down. I had someone in my mind before, but where has he gone? Oh, okay. No. Mana, come. Stand up. All right, Mana's the biggest, baddest guy out. Mana's Goliath. Nobody wants to fight Mana. All right, Mana, come to the front. All right, Coach, let's stand up. Coach, stand up. You too, Coach. All right, you stand. Oh, stand in the front. and Goliath in terms of like proportions of like height and bigness. It would be quite similar to this, right? And so David, he went to the battlefield to go and give his brothers, I think, food or water or something. He wasn't meant to go there for fighting. But David got there, and when he got there, he saw that all of his people were trembling in the trenches because they didn't want to fight the Philistines. And when they got there, or when David got there, he was wondering why they weren't going to defeat these people. And then they said they were going to have a one-on-one battle, right? A 1v1. So they picked their biggest, baddest guy, Mana. But no one of David's people wanted to fight Mana. Who wants to fight Mana? Me. Nobody wanted to fight Mana. Nobody wanted to fight Goliath. Yeah, but little Dave over here, little coach, he was like, oh, you guys are useless, I'll do it. I'll go and do it then. So he went up there on the battlefield and everyone's like, what? He's so little. He's not going to win. He's going to get defeated. And then we're going to be overtaken by the Philistines. But nope, coach was like, nope, I can do it. So he's walking up. And then they're trying to give him their heavy armor. All right, here, like this. So they're trying to say, here, coach, here's your armor. And then he's like, I can't even fit this. It's way too big. Like, I'm not going to wear this. So he didn't wear it. So he's like, I'm not going to wear the armor. He's trying to give him their sword. I don't have a sword. I'm trying to give him their sword and their shield. Oh, yeah. He's put on tuko. Here's the sword, but the sword was too heavy. He couldn't have enough. He didn't have enough strength to try and hit Mana. So he's like, no, I can't use the sword. He can't use the sword. So what he said was, I need to read this bit. What Goliath, Mana said is, come here and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. And then David, Kosha said to Mana, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, because that's what Goliath had. He had all his weapons. But I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Right? So Goliath had defied God's people. So that's when David heard that he was defying God's people, that's when David really did spring into action, and he decided, oh no, you don't. You do not talk about God like that. I'm going to come and I'm going to defeat you. And then he said, this day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. Today I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or by spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. Okay? So then, as Goliath started to move over to David to try and get close to him, because you have to remember, with someone this big, if he can get close to you, you're done. Right? So if Mana got close to Kosha, even with whatever weapons he has, Mana's just going to pick him up and dump him. But David was smart, right? David was smart. He's like, okay, I know that if he gets close to me, I'm probably going to be gone, but I am smart and I have strategy. So David was really, really good with a bow and arrow.
Want some jandals? Want a jandal?
Oh, yes, a jandal. That'll be good. Here we go. Oh, not a bow and arrow, sorry. David was really good with a slingshot. because he used his slingshot every single day to scare away and kill lions and anything that was trying to get his sheep. Right? So he protected his sheep even with his life against lions and bears and whatever else was out there. So David was like, all right, I'm going to use my slingshot, and instead of getting close to me, I'm just going to slingshot him with these 5 stones, with these little stones. Okay? So, turn around. So then, Kosh swung the jandals. Throw the jandals at Mana. Throw them. Because he belongs to God, right? He belongs to the Lord, and he sought the Lord for strength, for wisdom, for a strategy to defeat the enemy, and then he was able to defeat him. So when we go about our days, that's what we have to do. All right, God, please help me with this today. Like with me this morning, on my way here, I was praying to God. I was like, God, I'm preaching today. And then I said to myself, I'm preaching today. Wow. And I was like, God, I'm preaching today. Did you know that? Give me the words to say. And I thought, I was probably making them up in my own head. And then I got here and the words were starting to come to me, And if I was trying to figure it out in my own mind, in my own brain, it probably would have still been okay, I guess, but it wouldn't have been this great. I feel like this is pretty great. But that's what can happen when you fully decide to come to God and you need his help for things, right? You need his help to defeat mana. You need his help to get through the day at school, you might not want to defeat your bullies at school, but at least have them, stop. And have your strength in you where they don't want to even touch you anymore. Right? And that's the kind of confidence that we get to walk in when we know that we belong to Jesus. And whenever you hear the thoughts that come in your head sometimes, or even from other people, where they might tell you, we should go and do this like naughty thing, or we should go and vape over here, or we should wag class, or we should whatever, we should lie to our parents, or we should lie to our teachers, just know that is the enemy getting in your head. He will try everything to try and pull you away from God and pull you away from like this type of community, right? And having fellowship with people that are going to keep you on that path. So you just have to say, nope, I belong to Jesus. I belong to Jesus. I belong to Jesus. All right, say it out to me. I belong to Jesus.
I belong to Jesus.
Yeah. Cool. So what are we going to do when we leave here? No, like when you go home. When you go, yeah. Be confident. Be confident in yourself. Yeah. Yeah. When you come up to the manas in your life, the Goliaths in your life, know that you've got God on your side. Right? And nothing can defeat you when you've got God on your side. Who wants to have God on their side? In a battle, in a fight? Yeah?
What if it's a matchy fight?
Yeah, sure. Tell God to give you the moves. Yeah. Say, God, give me a strong punch. All right. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening and participating. Yeah. Okay. If anyone does want prayer, we can come in and pray for you and pray with you so that God can give you strength or give you wisdom or give you faster running legs. I don't know. You've got a race to go and run after this. And then just come up the front here if you want some prayer. Cool.
And maybe too, like I heard someone say when Philippa said, about if you have Jesus on your side, or something like that, and what she said, and they're like, oh, actually not yet. So if you're a not yet person and you don't have Jesus in your heart, but you would like to ask Jesus to come and be your best friend and to be a part of your life, like you can come up too, and your team captains actually can pray with you. Your team captains can pray with you. If you know, like what Philippa said too, maybe you got some giants in your life that you're struggling to overcome, and one of that too might be you might have unforgiveness towards your mum or your dad, nan or koro or auntie or uncle. No, that kind of stuff. They're giants. They become big giants in our lives. But we know with the power of what? Jesus on our side, He can take them out, eh? Yeah, when we've got Jesus on our side, He can take them out. So we're probably gonna, maybe 5 minutes if you want to come up. This part, this is God's time. Hey, this is God's time. This is probably the highlight of why we do camp, is because we don't want you to go home with heavy hearts, but we want you to go home with hearts that are just like beaming. That when people say things against you, it's not going to knock you down, but rather you can stand your ground and just keep going. Just keep being the awesome you that you are. So if that's you, maybe you want to ask Jesus to come and be your best friend, come into your heart, or maybe you just want some prayer for whatever it is that you might be going through. Come up, we'll allow, like about 5 minutes for this, and then after that we're going to go down and we're going to get on with the baptisms. But because this is God's time, and we want to allow God to have His way here, if that's you, then I encourage you to come up, okay? I encourage you to come up. Or what I'll do is I'll just say a prayer, because sometimes people are a bit too shy or a bit too whakamā, because they're like, oh, what will my friends think about me? Part of what I said too the other night was, when Pastor Rob and I stopped caring what people thought, we actually got to live our life. And so when you stop caring what other people think, guess what? It's the beginning of your new life, okay?